So what's it like today coming back with your family here?
Oh, it's fun. My grandson, he's 11, and he's always asked me, Grandma, what was it like living on the farm? So I always have to tell him, and they're really interested in this place. So I was glad that we got to come out and see it.
Tell us about Grandma's trunk.
Well, when we were kids, we always went up in the attic, and that's where Grandma's trunk was, back in the corner, and that it looked like a coffin. And then that's where we threw all our books in there. And then Grandma had a skirt up there, and sometimes we would put that skirt on, and then we would dance around. You know, we'd put Grandma's skirt on and do a little dance. And but you know, they all said that was Grandma's trunk when she came over to the United States. And I think she must have been out in the field working, and they said that George is going to America, and she said, I'm going along. And then she did, and they settled in Cincinnati, and then they got married at St. Louis Church, which is now St. Louis Church, and then they moved to Independence, and that was like on 3L Highway there, where Eddie Shaler's got his state farm there, and there's a cemetery there because some of Grandpa's brothers and sisters are buried there. They were, you know, when they lived there. And then I don't know when they moved here. I don't have that. It's probably down someplace, but I can't offhand. But then it's when they moved here. Then when Mother and Daddy got married, then they bought the farm off of Grandpa George. And then, you know, so then we were all raised here.
Tell me the history of this house.
Oh, gosh. The way I can remember it was just a log house. And they had a drive-through where they could dump their wood and stuff off for their cook stoves.
Like a breezeway?
Yeah, something similar to that. Mm-hmm. And when they wanted to go upstairs, they had to come out in that driveway and crawl a ladder to get upstairs. But
the breezeway had a roof over top of it.
Oh yeah,
it was roofed. Okay.
But you know, when I came along, then they had a kitchen over here that it was an old summer kitchen that was away from the house. It was a log house that was here, to my understanding, when my grandpa come from over in Kenton County. He worked for, I don't remember the guy's name.
He was a carpenter? Was he a carpenter?
No, he was just a farmer.
Okay.
And they sent him over here to clean this ground up. And he eventually bought it off of the guy.
And his name was?
My grandpa was George Schultz.
Yeah, but he didn't buy. Did he buy it off of a Truesdale or a Joe White? Or
no, not that I know of.
Okay.
Somebody in Kenton County. And then they started doing a little here and a little there. Now my Uncle Ed, he was a lot older. I mean, he was big enough to go out and get a job someplace. And because he was, when my dad was born, he was probably 20 years old already. And he went into the carpenter business. But my dad stayed here and farmed. And they added on to this house and to what it was, I guess, when you first came here.
Yeah. When we came here in '61, there was an old wood stove there, and they were still using the old wood stove.
Yeah.
But the breezeway was already closed, and there was no breezeway when we came here.
When you think of growing up here, what comes to mind?
Well, just that we had a rough time, but it was good times. I mean, you know, we all got along, all 7 of us, and always, I don't remember much of my two older brothers. They were older than I was. And I remember my brother Tiny. His name really was Alfred, but we all called him Tiny. He wasn't tiny, he just wanted a name that stuck with him. And he always needed somebody to go out in the field to work with him. So we always had to help him. Wherever he'd go, we had to mend the fences. He'd want one of us to go with him. So we all had to tag along and really help him, you know, did a lot of work. So I was kind of closer to him. Yeah.
So what was it like growing up here? Let's start there.
Okay. Well, it was good in one way, other than we just had to work a lot, do a lot of the chores, milking cows and feeding doing all the feeding.
Twice a day, milking the cows twice a day.
Yeah, that's doing all that. And we had the horses we had to feed. We had about 7 or 8 of them. And then we had sheep, and then we had hogs, and then we had the other pasture in the back, and we had to go up there every day and feed that. And so it was work from daylight till dark. And I mean, it was good, it was hard, and but it kept you out of trouble for one thing. But
Well, we didn't know any better. Everybody was in the same boat. I mean, all my friends and family, they were all in the same boat. They all lived on a farm, and they all had to work hard.
Tell us about what it was like. I mean,
Well-
you say work hard. Tell me about it.
Well, Betty and Irma and we did all the milking. We had 8 cows. And then sometimes Tiny helped, but he, not too often. And then we had to sometimes help haul in hay. And we had to get up on those wagons and tramp that hay. And I was just scared to death to get to the edge. Then you had to drive the horses, to the next windrow. So that was one of the things.
Now you mentioned Tiny. Tell me about your other siblings.
Well, then Earl and Irvin, they were older, but they always called me the little whitehead, because I had real blonde hair. You little whitehead, you little round head. But that's what I remember, growing up, because then they were in the service, and then it was just us 3 here at home, or 4, Janie, 4 of us.
What's it like today coming back with this?
Oh, it's different. It's different, but it brings back a lot of memories, good memories, because we had a good time, we had a good life, because everybody was raised on a farm. All my friends, everybody was raised on a farm.
Well, it was fun. We got in a little lot of fights, and we had outdoor plumbing. We had to go out to the outhouse, and cold, because we just had wood burning fire. We didn't have fireplaces, wood burning stove, and but we all got along fine. It was hard work. We had to get up, milk cows in the evening. In the summertime, had to help with the farm, get in hay, and pick tomatoes and pick up potatoes, and then help our mother can. And it was hard work, really. That's why I never wanted to live on a farm.
How'd you get your hay in?
well, we cut it and we mowed it, and we let it lay for a few days, and then we went up and raked it, all with the horses now on the hillsides, and we hauled it in and brought it down here to this barn, and we pulled right across the front doors and pulled a hay fork down, and then we had a team of horses in the back of the barn. So we'd stick that fork in that load, in that hay load, wagon load of hay, and yell, and they'd start the horses going. We'd pull it up and drop it off, and do that till the wagon was empty.
So there was one person back by the team.
Yep, and the one up in the loft,
And then another one on the wagon.
Yeah.
So it took three people to put hay in the barn.
Right. Sometimes, if we didn't have the third person, the one sticking the fork would go back and drive the horses, and then run back and forth. So it made it a little longer.
And a lot of this hay came off the big hill.
All them hills, we mowed them all. Even the ones that you turned into pastures.
I can't imagine that.
We mowed all of those.
Can't imagine that.